From Showhawk Media, this is Filmmaking Footnote with your host, Michael Hall. You're listening to Episode 3. This is the show where we give you the best filmmaking and production information so you can make the best project possible without having to spend a bunch of time or money at film school. Let's do it. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Filmmaking Footnote. This is your host, Michael Hall. Thank you so much for joining me for our third installment of the podcast. I am very, very excited to have you here. And today we are jumping into some financial information, which I'm sure some of you are your eyes are starting to glaze over, or your ears are starting to glaze over. And I swear this is actually pretty interesting stuff. I am biased, I will say that. I actually spent all day wrapping out a couple jobs, so I've been staring at budgets all day. So this is actually the perfect time for me to talk about this stuff. And I actually also have a background in accounting. My dad's a CPA, so I grew up. My summer job was entering QuickBooks for him. So I have a little bit of a soft spot for accounting and budgets. But I swear I will make this really interesting and keep you engaged. So above the line expenses, a lot of the time when people are talking about films, or even if you're at a creative agency, I used to work at an ad agency in town, and people would throw around the term above the line a lot. And what above the line really means when you're looking at a budget from a financial point of view, above the line is talking about the big expenses you need to have in place when making a film. So when you're really looking at a budget, you're looking at line items that you absolutely need to make the film possible. So you're looking at sunk costs like the cast, so all the actors involved, all of the talent, and usually they're talking about the leads. So say you have Brad Pitt in your film, his sunk cost into the film, getting him on board, is above the line. You're talking about the director, the story, anything that really needs to be in place before principal photography begins. So those are the things up at the very, very top that you absolutely need to have in place before you can actually start pre-production. When you talk about below the line, those are things like PAs, expenditures like vans and props, and it does extend to more crew members as well. So grips, lighting, gaffers. Even the cinematographer is a below the line expense because his involvement is not instrumental to the film being produced. So a quick rundown of what you're looking at when you are looking at a budget and looking at above the line expenses. You're looking at the producer, you're looking at the story rights, you're looking at the writer, the screenplay development, you're looking at the director, and the principal cast. So those are the people who you would consider the crew members to be above the line. So above the line talent is always referring to the list of people who guide and influence the creative direction of the film. These are the people who are involved early in the process to give the film a complete creative direction before everyone else starts getting involved. So typically there aren't a lot of above the line expenses, but those line items can add up really fast. So say, for example, you have a couple stars in your film and you have an A-list director. Those 3 or 4 line items all put together can get really, really expensive really quickly. And a lot of the time those above the line expenses can can be the bulk of your film's budget, or at least a hefty portion of your film's budget. Most importantly, above the line expenses and costs are fixed. So once you sign a certain actor or director, you're stuck with the cost of that person for the duration of the film. Whereas below the line expenses are a little more flexible and interchangeable. So the term above and below the line come from old-timey Hollywood, when budgets would actually have a literal line drawn between above and below the costs associated with above and below the line. These days that doesn't exist, but the term has now stuck around, so we're just kind of stuck with it. If you would like to see some actual examples of what above the line costs look like for really big Hollywood films, we have a couple examples back on the website. Go to filmmakingfootnote.com/3, and you can sign up for our newsletter there, where we will send you a couple examples of what above the line costs look like from a Hollywood perspective. Thanks so much for listening today. I will see you tomorrow when we cover the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. See you tomorrow.